Hey guys, this week I'm gonna try and make evil clone Mikey from the new Armageddon Game series that's coming out or just started coming out in the IDW comics. So let's see if I can do it. So to start off, I have a 2012 Mikey, and I trimmed off the holsters on his belt and took off the back of his bandana. Now I'm using my cordless Dremel to sand his mask off, because this guy's not wearing a mask. And well, he's wearing a different kind of mask I'll put on later. But then any little gaps or cracks, or there's a hole where I took off the back of the bandana, so I fill that all in with spackling. And spackling is like a thin plaster, and then it's great because it dries in like 15 minutes and then it sands really easy and really well. So I'm using my nail file to just give that a quick sand, and then just wipe it off until it's nice and clean. And I break out my green stuff 2-part putty. So it's yellow and blue, and you mix it together, and when it's green it's ready to use. And I'm just using that to change his pads on his elbows and knees, because this guy they're rounder, and so that's what I'm doing with that. And I use the silicone tool to kind of smooth it out and stretch it so it goes where I want it. And then when it dries, it's just like plastic, and so it's great for working on these little toys. And then I'm just giving that a quick light sand just to smooth it out a bit more before I move on to the next stage, which is covering everything with a matte acrylic varnish. So I'm using this because as my primer, because I like the color, I want to play on the colors that he already has. And then I use a burnt umber. I'm painting his lower half where his pants are going to be. I'm going to give him fabric pants, but in case anything shows through, I want it to be brown underneath, just in case. And so I paint those, and then I paint sequin blades, like a metallic black, on the pads, because I thought that might look cool. And then I dry brush and trying to really get in the cracks with some of that burnt umber again. So that's what the turtles look like in black and white. And now I'm using some little sequins glue with super glue to look kind of like bolts on the pads, just holding the band to the pad or whatever. Then I remembered I have to paint his gloves, or his hands, like gloves, brown gloves, fingerless brown gloves. So I just used the burnt umber to do that. And then I'm getting where I put the spackling, I'm going with some burnt umber just to darken it up, because it's white, which is very different than the green and orange that I'm going on with the rest. Then I use a sap green. It's a dark green, and I'm just getting in all the cracks and details and like lower parts, because then when I put the next coat they'll be darker, and I want his face to be pretty dark, so I cover that. And then that's going to be the main color of the shell. It's a sap green. And then next I have, it's Nicolazo gold. It's I just like it. It's got a kind of glossy luster, and it's a brownish color, like orangey brown. And when it dries, and especially when you go over the darker brown, it looks a lot like brown leather. So that's why I like that color. I use it a lot. Then, because there's still a little orange showing in his eyes, I went with a white acrylic primer just in the eyes. Those are gonna be yellow, and I want them to really pop out like they're glowing. Then I dry brush some raw sienna on his shell to just add some more colors and complexity to that. Then the green I chose for the skin is grass green, and that yellow is glow yellow. Well, it's yellow, and then the luster is gold. I think luster is the right word. Like glossy, non-glossy, glow, could be wrong. And I do a light coat of the grass green over him, because I want still the darker green underneath to show through. And I want it to be like kind of a couple different colors of green showing through, because they're clones and maybe they weren't perfect. There's not a lot of color images out, because I think they come in issue 2 of Armageddon Game, and that hasn't come out yet. Just the cover, not that cover. Well, that's, I think, an alternate cover for issue 2. And he's got black swords, so I paint the hilt of the sword black there. Then cover everything I painted with another coat of the clear acrylic varnish. Well, varnish means it's clear. Matte acrylic varnish is what I was going for. Then I was looking at my references, and these guys don't have cheeks, at least not fat cheeks. So I go in with my Dremel, and then this tool is like a stone, and it just kind of smooths out what I sanded with the other bit. That's sandpaper. And then I go with the grass green, but that was a little too bright, so while it's still wet, it's easy to just blend in a little bit of the sap green. And I want his face to be kind of dark to really contrast this bright yellow glowing eyes. So I gave that maybe like 5 coats of yellow on the eyes, because it's a really light, bright yellow. Then I made a bunch of stencils, stencils for all the fabric that I'm gonna have. He's got the mask and then the pants. So for the pants, that's for the little pouches. It's just gonna fold together with the glue and become little pouches. I think I made them a little too big, so I cut some of them down, and then one I turned into 2, and then I'm just trimming up his white bandana, then another coat of yellow on the eyes. And next I start gluing down all the pieces of material. So I do one piece for the upper leg and then another piece for the lower leg, and I'm folding under the bottom so that it like puffs out, because like they're baggy pants. But when I was doing this, it was really hard, and then I don't really love the way it came out. And also using the same material for the bags and the pants, they blend together too much. Now his belt I made out of a synthetic leather. It's like a dark, almost black, but a dark brown synthetic leather. And then I glue the bags down. And then for his belt buckle, it's a stainless steel cable tie that I use usually for swords, but it works great for just a little piece of metal for his belt clip or belt buckle. And then I glue this down, and the material I'm gonna do, who am I doing? Raph and Donnie next week. I actually already started. I'm gonna do different pants, and then just like an old t-shirt for the bandana, because I didn't really like that material either. And then I have another Mikey coming, so I'm gonna do Mikey and Leo. This is like the prototype, but so Donnie and Raph is coming next week. All the material I used are down below in the description. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, always keep your head up. Peace.